Hey, it's your friend CJ here, and welcome to my team builder in battle for week 4 of the UBL. Our opponent is TheChoiceSpecs, and he is the coach of the Orlando Magikarps. Now, before we get into it, I have a couple of housekeeping things that I want to go into. First of all, of course, this battle is now being uploaded pretty late. I'm recording this on Sunday the 21st. I'm hoping to have it up no later than the 23rd, this Tuesday. So fingers crossed you guys are watching it on this day, on the 23rd, or sometime afterwards. So as long as the original upload date is like on the 23rd, hopefully that works out. The reason that this is so behind and all my other games are so far behind is because I have been on vacation. I did a nice cruise with the family. That was very relaxing and got a lot of enjoyment out of it. But it did mean that I was behind on uploads. I was able to get all my battles done more or less on time. Working around the cruise. So yeah, we should be able to crank these battles out in the next couple of days. But until then, I'm sorry for all the delays. Hope you guys understand that sometimes it's just hard to fit everything in the amount of time that you have. Like, as I tried to get all the battles done and give myself enough time to do the uploads, but then I had to pack and had a lot of work stuff, so it just didn't really work out. Then the other thing I want to put up here is that after this week, going into week 5, we are going to be going up against Root, coach of the NJ Brobats, and for that battle and for the rest of the season, we will be using a different team. We will have made 3 transactions, and I think I'll go into detail on that in the next video. But I guess I could just say here, Swampert, Electivire, and Miltank will be gone from the team starting next week. So for us, Miltank never hit the field, which is a little bit of a bummer, because I don't think Miltank's a bad Pokemon by any means. It just didn't really have a good matchup ever. Swampert and Electivire are pretty cool. Electivire especially, I've really enjoyed using these first 4 weeks. But there was a few things that were available on the free agent waiver wire, and I just couldn't pass them up. So yeah, we'll go into the details on that. But for the time being, yeah, Electivire, Swampert, this is their final voyage. This is their encore, their swan song, whatever you want to call it. This will be the last time we're using them. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for housekeeping. We're going to now hop on into the breakdown of the teams here, and we'll start by reciting off the TheChoiceSpecs roster. So he has Chinchino, Espeon, Frostlass, Galvantula, Arcanine, Hitmonlee, Milotic, Dragonite, Tapu Bulu, Weezing, and Mega Mawile. So definitely the thing I'm scared most about is Mega Mawile, just because it's a Pokemon without switch-ins, basically. And it has typically lots of good opportunities to set up, just because of its pretty good typing, first and foremost. It is also aided by the fact that it has the ability to Intimidate before it Mega Evolves, so it lowers the attack of my Pokemon and gives it potentially an opportunity to set up for free. So that's really, really spooky. It doesn't have amazing natural bulk, but yeah, it has like just enough for it to be effective. And the fact that it has Sucker Punch to kind of neutralize threats that are faster than it, that might be able to revenge kill it, like for example my Gengar or my Mew, like it makes it very, very hard for me to deal with. Like he has scary Pokemon other than that, like Dragonite with the Dragon Dance set is very scary. Tapu Bulu is like a really good wall breaker. Espeon, like you can never predict what Espeon's going to do. Arcanine has some actually pretty good offensive sets, I want to say. But I feel like I have more appropriate counters to some of those. Like Tapu Bulu, I would be pretty shocked if it came. Just because I do have Ferrothorn as a 4x resist, I do have Miltank as an immunity. I have Druddigon as a resist that can also apply Rough Skin Rocky Helmet damage. I've got Sneasel to revenge kill it with a super effective stab, and also has a priority option. Aerodactyl is faster than a Choice Scarf Bulu and can hit it with wing attack. Gengar can outspeed with super effective stab. So yeah, there's just lots of ways for me to deter Tapu Bulu from being really annoying. Dragonite, like I guess it could run some scary sets, but like it's kind of forced to have E-Speed for Sneasel. It's kind of forced to have like Fire Punch for Ferrothorn. So if you have like DD plus those 2 attacks, and then like you need something to hit Togekiss a little bit more, I guess you could just rely on Fire Punch to hit Togekiss, but you'd probably rather have like the Steel move or Stone Edge, Rock Slide, or even like Supersonic Sky Strike would probably be good enough. So yeah, I don't know if he can run all those things and deal with my team. Maybe if he runs like Yachi Berry, he can survive the hit from my Sneasel. So that's something worth considering. But anyway, yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is I don't think it's as scary of an offensive threat. Honestly, the bigger threat to me, like besides the Mawile that I mentioned, is just freaking like Flame Orb Milotic. Milotic is so annoying. It's one of my least favorite Pokemon to have to deal with, just because it's so fat and bulky, and you can't status it if it is running Flame Orb. So yeah, there's just not a lot of great ways to break it down. But I will say there are some positive things in this matchup. So for example, he has no Dark type. So that's great for me because it really opens up a door for Mew to be effective. I basically just need to find ways to like weaken the Mawile or be able to hit that super effectively. And it also makes my Gengar extremely free. His only like resist to Gengar is Chinchino, which is not really that bulky and not that likely to come. Because its key ability is Skill Link, which means it's relying on moves like Tail Slap to do a lot of damage, and I've got 2 users that do like recoil damage upon contact, so like Ferrothorn with Iron Barbs and Druddigon with Rough Skin. So I don't think that Pokemon's going to come. So it means that Gengar is really free in this game, is what I'm trying to say. And then the other thing that's really odd about his team is that he doesn't have a ground type, and so that's really nice because it does give my Electivire a very good matchup, and Electivire is going to be a very important Pokemon for applying pressure to Milotic, like I said. And it also, like, I'll show you guys the set that I have in a little bit. It can be a reasonable switch into special attackers with the set that I have. So things like Galvantula are going to be deterred just a little bit by the presence of my Electivire. Galvantula setting up webs could be problematic. I have to keep an eye on that without a doubt. So anyway, I've rambled for like 7 minutes and haven't even gotten into the team builder. So now let's pick up the pace here and yeah, start off with that Gengar, which, like I mentioned, has a very amazing matchup this game. Shadow Ball, Sludge Wave, T-Volt, and Taunt. So yeah, Shadow Ball is super free, allows me to run Ghost DMZ for that never-ending nightmare, and should allow me to break through pretty much anything on the team. Like I was saying, Melodic is a little bit of a problem to break down. I would love it if Gengar could get off a never-ending nightmare on that Melodic. It'll make it, like, it'll do a pretty tremendous amount of damage to it, so that would be really nice. Sludge Wave is an important move mainly for Bulu, but it's also like my strongest attacking move for things like, what's the stupid name, like Dragonite, Arcanine, things like that. Just because it has a little bit of extra base power versus Shadow Ball, 95 versus 80. And then Taunt is there just because, yeah, taunting things like Galvantula would be really nice, or Melodic if I think he's trying to go for a recover. Anything like that. Weezing would be a nice Pokemon to taunt. So I just think it's useful overall. Just running max speed to outspeed. Doesn't he have a base 109? I guess it's the speed type for the Espeon at base 110, so that's what the max speed is for. And then I don't recall exactly what this defense is for, because I built this team like 4 weeks ago. But it was to live some, I think it was to live like a knockoff from Hitmonlee, because I don't have an item that can be knocked off, so I take a little bit of reduced damage, and yeah, then that defense investment just means I don't ever take 100% from like Adamant, Life Orb, or something like that. Next, I do have Mega Aerodactyl, 3 attacks, Toxic. So this Pokemon hits, you know, it outspeeds practically everything on the team. Running nearly max speed. I think that's to allow me to outspeed like Scarf Hitmonlee, if I'm not mistaken. So I can hit that thing up with Wing Attack and take it out. But yeah, otherwise Edgequake is just very good versus his team. He just doesn't have, like, besides like Mawile, doesn't really have a Pokemon that's like really bulky and wants to take hits from this thing. Like, I guess Bulu maybe is like kind of you know, strong enough, but I have super effective flying type attacks for that. Weezing is probably the only other thing that it's potentially going to be able to take on Aerodactyl. So I really like this Pokemon in this game. Toxic would be nice. If I can land a Toxic on Melodic before it gets his Flame Orb off, that'd be really fantastic. I guess that's really his best overall check to Aerodactyl, is the Flame Orb Melodic. Like, the nice thing is that even though it's an annoying set for me to deal with, it is heavily pressured this game, so I should be able to kill it with like one of my Pokemon, whatever that might be. I don't remember what the attack and HP is for. Like, HP might be for living like Sucker Punch from Mawile or something like that. Anyway, let's now go to my next Pokemon, which is a Choice Scarf Blaziken. Pretty, it's actually kind of an interesting moveset. It's like dual stab, which is standard, baton pass, which is kind of standard, and then decided to run defog on Scarf Blaziken, just because I didn't want to go without defog in the matchup, when I think that it would be annoying for me to have to deal with what do you call it, sticky webs. I can't remember the stupid name of the move. So yeah, I didn't want to go without that. But I liked Scarf Blaziken as a way to outspeed and deal with Choice Scarf Tapu Bulu, aside, of course, from like my Aerodactyl. And then just being Scarf, you know, I can outpace like a Calm Mind Espeon. I can outpace, you know, a lot of his threats. Most of his major threats. He just doesn't have great switch-ins to the dual stabs on this thing. I really like Baton Pass on here because, yeah, you know, kind of like with Aerodactyl, I think his primary response to Blaziken will be the Melodic. So if I could Baton Pass out of my Blaziken and into my Beta Ray Bill, it's going to put me in a really nice position, because then I can threaten that thing with big Wild Charge, very powerful type attacks. Ice Punch is going to be my my way to hit Tapu Bulu, and I don't, what is his other electric resist? I don't think he really, I guess it hits Dragonite hardest, but Dragonite's not really a electric resist anyway, so it's not that it's going to be a switch in, but at least I can prevent it from setting up on me with like multi-scale and stuff. Earthquake's there for Mawile, and Volt Switch is there for momentum, so definitely going to be a pretty effective option this week. I think I have just enough speed on this thing for Hitmonlee. The fact that I have Assault Vest on here is going to make this a little bit of a switch in to Galvantula. Like, Galvantula is definitely annoying to have to deal with. And then I can potentially, like, as long as I don't get burned, allows me to take a hit easier from my Melodic. We'll have to see if that happens or not. I guess I could have gone like with a full special set instead of going with like a mostly physical set, so that way I could not be worried about Scald so much. But you just lose so much power by doing that, because like it's a 123 base attack versus 95 base special attack, so it's almost a 30-point difference. So it's worth it, I think, just to try and get the extra power. Then I have Swampert, which is actually pretty offensive in this game. Which seems kind of weird, and I'm not even packing Water Stab, I'm just running with Earth Power coverage. And so here's the reason that I wanted this set. So I want something that's going to be able to guaranteed outspeed Mega Mawile and hit it with a super effective stab type move. I do have the Blaziken for that, and we do have a lot of defensive investment on here. I think this helps me live a +4 Sucker Punch from Mega Mawile. So I have that, but if for some reason my Blaziken is weakened or it's not around, I wanted to have Swampert as a way to hit it with Earth Power. Earth Power, like over something like Earthquake, is good because he does have a lot of Intimidate mons, like the Mawile and the Arcanine. And I want to be able to use my Swampert to switch into Arcanine, but if he burns me and I can't use Earthquake as effectively, that would have been really bad. So I want to avoid that happening and have, you know, the limited offensive potential that a burned Pokemon would have. It's also true of Weezing. Like, Swampert doesn't mind switching into Weezing necessarily. Not that I can hit Weezing, but I don't mind getting burned by that thing. But yeah, so we have Earth Power to hit everything pretty hard. He doesn't have the best switch-ins to these types of moves anyway, like ground-type moves. And then these only switch-ins really are like Tapu Bulu and Dragonite. So Ice Beam hits both of those. It's worth saying too that if he does somehow get up grassy terrain, I don't want my Earthquake being neutered while I'm having to deal with a Mawile. So Earth Power and Ice Beam, you know, the combination of special moves just seemed like the overall right combination for this game. Yeah, and I don't know. I don't think I take a +2 Sucker particularly well on this Swampert, but he probably won't be clicking Sucker versus my Swampert. Like, he'll probably be pretty fast himself, and he'll just click Play Rough thinking he outspeeds. And so yeah, hopefully I can hit, you know, with a surprise Earth Power. And I think that this attack investment allows me to kill like an uninvested Mawile. So if he's like max attack, max speed, this Earth Power with the special attack investment should kill him. Then last but not least, we do have a Nasty Plot Mew with Psychic and Flamethrower. Like I said, he doesn't have a Dark type on his team, so it's going to be very hard for him to threaten this Mew. His only form of, like, I guess he has Frostlass to have some super effective options versus this thing, but otherwise his best option is Galvantula to hit me up with, like, Bug Buzz and stuff like that. I guess maybe I could have gone Calm Mind over Nasty Plot. Maybe that was the better choice. But in any case, like his only other like really proper psychic resist is Mawile, and we do have the flamethrower for that, so we can hit that thing very hard with flamethrower. Flamethrower also is good enough to deal with Espeon. Like we can boost faster than that thing because we do have Nasty Plot. That is one advantage over Calm Mind. So we can boost faster than that thing and do a lot of damage to it with flamethrower. But yeah, I think this is a very, very good Pokemon for dealing with his team because he doesn't have like a really great way to threaten it. Besides those two Pokemon that I mentioned. But, like, Galvantula is somewhat likely in the matchup. Frostlass is not very likely. And then Galvantula, it's weak to rocks. I have lots of Pokemon to deal with it, such as my Electivire. I outspeed it with Blaziken. If it's not Scarfed, I outspeed it with Aerodactyl and hit it with Stone Edge if it's not Scarfed. Even Gengar can kill it. So, anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of ways for me to neutralize Galvantula, and I don't think Frostlass is likely, and that makes me very potent in this matchup. So yeah, that's going to do it for the team builder. Thanks for bearing with me. It's now 16 minutes in, and we are now just getting to team preview, so let's flip on over to it. Alright, here we are with our battle versus the TheChoiceSpecs. As you can see, he has chosen to bring the Galvantula, Melodic, Dragonite, the Mawile, Tapu Bulu, and the Arcanine. And so, he brought a lot of his scary threats, like Dragonite, Mawile, very scary offensive threats. Tapu Bulu is an amazing wall breaker. I'm still a little surprised to see it, just because, like I mentioned in the team builder, I feel like I have at least 3 really great responses to it. But maybe he has like a cheeky set that he could use to take advantage of those Pokemon. Like, I've brought like Screens Tapu Bulu before. Maybe he could bring that, or like Calm Mind with Dazzling Gleam or something weird like that. All of those are definitely options. Melodic, 100% expected. Like I said, it walls a lot of my team and is kind of pressured. Galvantula, I feel neither which way about it. Like it's a fairly good special attacker with good speed, and it's the option for Sticky Webs, which is annoying versus my team. It's not the most annoying because I do have Aerodactyl as a Pokemon that's not affected and outspeeds practically everything. Like, unless he's like Scarf Arcanine, like I even outspeed some of his best other Scarfers, like Scarf Tapu Bulu or Scarf Dragonite or anything like that. If he chooses to bring those, I still outspeed. Like I don't know that Sticky Web is 100% effective versus me, but like my team is more than just Aerodactyl, so I can see it either which way. So anyway, I do want to lead with my Blaziken. I like leading with Blaziken because it, if he leads with like Bulu or Galvantula or Mawile, forces the switch into Melodic, and then I can take that as an opportunity to get some momentum and go into my Electivire, because Electivire looks very good this game, like just with its stabs. Or I guess it only has one stab with Wild Charge plus like Ice Punch for D9 and Tapu Bulu, and then Earthquake for Arcanine and Mawile. It just seems like a very good Pokemon for applying pressure. So that's what I'm hoping to do. I want to Baton Pass early. And try and get into my Electivire. So let's hit play, wish good luck, have fun to the TheChoiceSpecs, and hop straight on into this battle. I think the TheChoiceSpecs and I have played before. It wasn't in like a proper league, but I'm pretty sure he and I were in the same division in the Grand Overseas Tournament. That was eons ago. That was like maybe 2 years ago now, where he and I played. It was a tournament that was run by Astro J, like one of those big giant like 120-something person tours. I think if it's the battle that I'm thinking of, I think I lost that. But we are here in a new battle, a new era, new teams, and we're going to try and make this work for us. So my Blaziken leads out versus his Galvantula, and I deviate a little bit from my original plan of just clicking Baton Pass early, because it occurs to me that if it's like a Sash lead Galvantula, that I don't want him to get up his webs basically for free. I want to try and punish that. So I just stay in and click Flare Blitz as he goes hard into his Melodic, which is exactly what I was expecting to happen on the first turn. I guess I just overthought it a little bit. So maybe he's not sashed on his Galvantula after all. Maybe he's not even packing Sticky Webs. But in any case, I do just go into my Mew as he goes for the Recover. I felt like the Recover was pretty obvious. I could have taken it as an opportunity to go into my Electivire, but on the off chance that he went for Scald for some reason, I didn't want to risk my Electivire getting burned. Mew felt like a better mid-ground play because there's very little that Melodic can do to do a lot of damage to my Mew. And yeah, there's not any way for my Mew to break down this Milotic without first, of course, setting up nasty plots. And so I set up one nasty plot. He goes for a Scald, and he actually burns me, which is pretty fantastic. It means that if this Pokemon has Toxic or something like that, that he can no longer hit me with that. I'm just going to be taking that small 6% residual each turn, which is pretty easily counteracted by my leftovers. He does have a pretty cool tech, though, and he throws up the Light Screen. And so this means that even though I am boosting, it's not going to be quite as effective as it otherwise could be. It definitely mitigates a lot of my damage. I could have done a large chunk of damage before he got up the Light Screen by going for Psychic. But I felt like it was worth predicting the Mawile to come in. So if I go for a Nasty Plot or a Psychic as Mawile comes in, he can very easily threaten me with Sucker Punch and force me out. So I wanted to try and punish that as best I could. That ended up not working out, but I don't think it's a big deal because, yeah, this Milotic doesn't threaten me whatsoever. The most threatening thing that it's done is set up a Light Screen, which, again, is annoying because it prevents me from doing the maximum amount of damage, but I can basically just keep on setting up. I think at the moment I'm at +4, and I am just going to go for the Scald, not the Scald, the Roost, get up to full. He's also going to recover and get up to full. And so I think I go for a final Nasty Plot here to get to a full +6 with my Mew. We'll have to double check this in just a moment. Waiting on pins and needles. Yes, Nasty Plot is the final. This is the final time I'm going to be clicking it in this exchange to get up to my maximum amount of damage. It also, like, it doesn't really behoove me to try and attack this thing because he does have up the screen. I can't do the maximum amount of damage. So, like, yeah, I can just keep boosting and roosting. I'm not really losing anything by doing that because it's not like I'm chipping this thing down at all. It's protected by the Light Screen and has the ability to go for the recover. So now he is finally, now I'm finally at +6. There's no more point in boosting. I'm at basically as much health as I'm going to be because every time I recover, he's going to be able to Scald me and get me into about that 75% range of HP. So yes, finally I click Psychic and do a pretty good amount of damage to it. And so now the Light Screen wears off. It does die to the next Psychic. It was a tough play this turn to decide between going for Recover or Roost or Psychic. But if I roosted again as he clicked Light Screen, I have to do this all over. So I said, okay, let's just, you know, surrender a little bit of the HP on the Mew and take out this Milotic before it has the chance to do anything else super annoying. And so, the Galvantula does come out now. This is where Calm Mind might have been a little bit nicer than Nasty Plot, just because then I wouldn't be taking so much damage from the Bug Buzz. But, you know, here we are. I go into my Blaziken because it quad-resists the Bug Buzz. It's not a bulky Pokemon, but, you know, luckily stats are what they are. And then he stays in as I click Baton Pass. So it's funny, he got the better of me on the first turn. He switched out when I thought he might stay in, trying to set up webs. But now he stays in and clicks Thunder. Maybe he didn't expect me to be Choice Scarf, and that's why he just went for the attacking move right away. I switch into my Swampert as he goes for the Thunder, and then follows up with an Energy Ball. Does a pretty good chunk of damage to me, but luckily I do have Rindo Berry to protect me. And so I take this as a chance to get up my rocks. You know, I figured, yeah, he'd probably go for the Energy Ball, and I have the chance to set up the rocks. I'm willing to trade that for my rocks at the moment. Because Rocks is going to be really important for getting rid of D-Knight's multi-scale and stuff like that. But now he follows up with a Sticky Web. So all this time, he was like starting to, you know, imply that he was not actually a Focus Sash variant. And like, you know, you can run Sticky Web without Focus Sash, but I don't know, for me, I kind of dismissed it from my mind to some extent. But anyway, now he comes in and hits my Electivire with Energy Ball, which doesn't do all too much damage. I'm able to throw an Ice Punch up versus it, and then I'm able to follow up with an Earthquake, which is going to eliminate this Galvantula. But I would say overall, he got the better of this exchange. He got some pretty pivotal damage onto my Electivire. He weakened my Swampert, and although I got up Rocks, he got up the Sticky Webs, which is a lot more annoying. Because now I can't, like, break through his team with, like, my Gengar, for example. Because pretty much everything on his team can now outspeed my Gengar. Really miss having Levitate on Gengar. Like, that would have been so much better to have in this situation rather than Cursed Body, but it is what it is. And, like, I can't roost up on anything with my Mew as long as his speed is reduced. It's just like the potential Aerodactyl that can do more work. But anyway, I go into my Swampert after he kills my Electivire with Arcanine. That is going to threaten him out on into Tapu Bulu. I was not expecting him to stay in at all, so I'm pretty sure that I just click either Toxic or Ice Beam. I do click Toxic, yeah. I could have just gone for the Ice Beam, but if he did choose to stay in and go for like Will-O-Wisp or something like that, something kind of weird, like I would be punished a little bit more by that. Toxic was a little bit more of a no drawback play, like it was a little bit more safe versus a potential Tapu Bulu switch in or an Arcanine that wanted to stay in. But in any case, I do just sack off my Swampert now because I don't have a Hornleech switch in. I didn't bring any of my Grass type switch ins. The reason that I wanted to sack this Pokemon here as well is because this seemed like basically my best opportunity to try and defog with the Blaziken. So in just a moment here, I do bring that in just as soon as all the damage finishes ticking. And I'm thinking that I threaten him enough with the Fire-type move that maybe I can switch him into something else. It gives me a relatively free defog. He ends up staying in, but the Bulu was not. It's not Scarfed, so I do outspeed it with my Scarf. Even though I'm at -1 speed, I have enough speed with the Choice Scarf to outspeed it. He goes for Zen Headbutt to try and kill me, but he actually misses. And in a funny way, this is actually amazing for him. Because now I have a Blaziken that is locked into Defog. He knows that because I outsped him while being affected by Sticky Web. And so he has a free turn to go on into his Dragonite here. So I go into the Mew. Because I figure he, in case he tries to click Zen Headbutt again, I can resist that. And now that there's no more Sticky Webs, I can roost up potentially on the Bulu, or I could throw up a Flamethrower versus it and do pretty good damage. But yeah, this D9 is in here. There's no rock, so this thing still has its multi-scale intact. I go for the Psychic because that's my strongest move to hit it. And he goes for the Dragon Dance. He said, okay, well, this is not bad yet. You just can't set up another D-Dance. Like, the funny thing about Dragonite is that it doesn't actually outspeed Aerodactyl with a +1 speed boost. So yeah, I just need to force him to attack, and then I can take it out with the Aerodactyl. But nope, there's no reason for him to do anything but click Dragon Dance again. I've shown Flamethrower, Psychic, Nasty Plot, Roost. He knows that I can't touch this Pokemon whatsoever. And so I throw off another Psychic. It does double what it did last time because there no longer has multi-scale, but, double of 15% is only 30%. He has a lot of health left. So yeah, he's at his +2, and he can start throwing off Dragon Claws. And so he's already eliminated my Swampert. Up to this point, he now has eliminated my Mew. I have just left the Aerodactyl, the Blaziken, and I don't remember the other ones. One other Pokemon that's about to get swept by this Dragonite. And yeah, there's no point in beating around the bush. He ends up taking a 4-0 victory versus me. I guess there's some chance that this Aerodactyl can live the Dragon Claw. I'm not 100% sure because it depends on what sort of investment he has. But yeah, no, this definitely takes us out. Maybe it was like a roll at +1, but not a roll at +2. I don't remember all the specifics. Oh, it was Gengar. Gengar was my other Pokemon that I had in the back. Gengar does absolutely nothing this game except die. Which I think the last week I brought up, week 3 versus Dyeittight. That's pretty much what happens too. I guess it did a little bit more versus Dyeittight because at least I got to literally click an attacking move one time. I hit a Heracross that had up a substitute and then proceeded to die to Rock Blasts. That was annoying. But yeah, he ends up getting the final kills on all of my last 4 Pokemon. Yes, it's Electivire is the other one that died. So yeah, Electivire Swampert got killed earlier in the match, but then the Dragonite got 4 kills versus Mew, Blaziken, Gengar, and Aerodactyl. And that's going to result in a 4-0 win for him, 4-0 loss, of course, for us. So this kind of sucks. It drops us down to 1-3 record. Not the spot that I want to be in, because it's hard to claw out of these holes once you dig yourselves into them. It's not impossible. I just did it in MPL. I was 2-4 in the MPL, and then won 3 straight games to improve to 5-4, clinch a playoff spot, and then make it to finals. So anything is possible. But that said, it never feels good to be this far below 500. So big shout outs to TheChoiceSpecs with that clean sweep. It was pretty well executed. Like I said, it's funny how he benefited a little bit from the miss, like that 10% chance that is missed that Zen Headbutt has, because it gave him that free turn on my Blaziken that was locked into defog. If that hadn't been the case, I could have gone into anything really. Like Gengar probably would have been perfect Pokemon to go into, throw off a Sludge Wave or a Shadow Ball. And then the whole match from there could have been different. Like he maybe still would have won. I didn't have a response for +2 D-Knight. After all, like, so he definitely could have still beat me. That's gonna do it for this battle in this week of UBL. We are gonna be going up against Root and the NJ Brobats next week. Make sure you check that out. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we are going to be making some transactions that I will explain at the beginning of next week's video. So I hope you're looking forward to that. If you are, appreciate it if you dropped a like and left a sub. That'll help you stay up to date on all my latest and greatest Pokemon and gaming content. So thank you all once again for watching. Until the next time, I'll see you guys later.